This is the wood at work. Sorry, hey, how we doing? It's JJ. This is the wood at work, and I'm on my lunch break, and I've just come out for a brief little walk. So if we're a little bit shaky and we seem a little bit hesitant, it's because I haven't got my tripod with me. Couple of tips for you. The canopy is fully out, completely out. That can actually make the wood seem and appear to be really quiet, but the wildlife is still there. Now, in terms of looking for wildlife, at the moment I am at the bottom and this goes up. Any wildlife is going to see me from the top long before I see it. I've got the wind coming behind me. It's just the way that I've walked into the wood, so the animals are going to catch my scent. Ideally, I am on a lunch break, but if I wanted to go and see the wildlife and try and see some, I would go out a different way and come around, making it a longer walk, but coming from the top, I would then have the wind pushing against me. I would be at the top, I'd be able to look down, and therefore I would gain a better vantage point. It's in full leaf. You really do need to have a pair of binoculars this time of year if you are looking especially for birds and that, because it's a full green canopy. It really does make it harder to actually look and try and spot where it is. We try to blend into the environment, we try to stay as quiet as possible, and I do realise the irony of that as I'm talking to the camera, but this is just a quick pointers video. We would be wearing greens or browns, some camouflage hues to try and blend ourselves in. We would be putting ourselves into one spot and not moving about too much. It's now dry, hasn't rained for at least 3 minutes, so the ground is dry, so we watch our footfall as well. Couple of pointers there. I'm going to have a wander around and just see if there's anything worth noting. It's very unusual that I actually see any walkers in this wood. Out of all the times I've been in here, that's probably the first time. But there are houses further along beyond the yard at work. Had a dog with him. Dog didn't sense me. Dog's not barked. I've not heard any deer calls. I've not heard any alarm calls from birds. So the deer must be somewhere else. And these are the little things you can look out for as well. And this is why we try to be as still and as quiet as possible. So we can see this deer trail behind us. There is a fairly large, substantial herd of fallow deer in this wood. Probably numbers about 70 to 90. Could even be up as 100 when all the fawns are about. So finding their trails is pretty easy. And if you familiarise yourselves with those trails, they are creatures of habit. They will keep using the same trails over and over and over. If you position yourselves in a good spot where you'll just sit long enough, chances are that you will come across some deer. And this is what I mean here. There is a really large central deer trail that runs along here. Pretty much goes the entire length of the wood. But the trail that I just walked up on is just there. They are creatures of habit. So if you know where the main trails are going to be, find that and then walk off and find out where all the other ancillary trails are. They will lead you eventually to the deer if they are staying in the wood. Fallen down trees like this with multiple boughs coming out provide a really good cover spot for you to sit and hide. So you could actually sit down there and you could look both ways, but you could still sort of cover yourself pretty well. Finding spots like this in the wood are brilliant. They are really, really handy. Great places to sit and be for a while in the hope that something will come along. Just as I was about to, fuck's sake, there's deer right on that line there. Off they go, off they go. There's loads of them. This is a glade clearing with loads of brambles, and I was just about to say that they're perfect hidey holes for deer. Whilst we can get snagged and caught in the bramble lines that go out, the deer can easily sit in there. They are just all up over the back there now. We'll just leave them be. It doesn't matter how proficient you are at spotting or observing or tracking wildlife. It doesn't matter how many times you've done it. If a pheasant suddenly decides to fight or flight and they want to disappear away from you, they would just boom, come out of nowhere and your heart goes a tiver. Never ceases to get you. That's the glade where I just saw the deer. It goes up towards the top of the hill. There's a thicket, and then there's another open glade. And generally, experience has taught me that where one lot of deer are, and if they're part of a bigger herd, there will generally be more. Pop you up and pause. This top section would make a great area for a camp. Looking out into that little glade there, it's ideal for it. Ideal. This is where I sometimes come for lunch, or to just walk during my lunch break after I've eaten. Invariably I will see the deer on most occasions. Sometimes it might only be fleeting glances. With just a few of those little tips, if you employ those regularly when you're out and you want to spot more wildlife, think about the wind direction, how your smell may move across the landscape, and whether that's wooded areas, fields, pasture, common, heath, it doesn't really matter. Try not to spray strong, pungent deodorant aftershave. You want to smell natural as possible. You want to wear the colours that are going to blend into the background. You don't make swift, sharp, sudden movements. Generally, I mean, I'm on my lunch break, generally I would wear a hat, try and disguise the shape of my head, try and keep my hands down so I'm not wafting my hands about. Think about your footfall as the leaf litter is dry. Think about placing yourself in a spot where you can see regular trails crisscrossing, and just spend a little while there. If you keep doing it regularly, the wildlife around you will actually get used to you. And when they do that, you stand a much better chance of seeing something. just a few little pointers for you today. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Catch you again soon.